Hi, everybody, at this scientific conference, Empowering Youth Values. I'm Maria Murumaa-Mengel, and I'm so sorry I cannot be there live and mingling and mixing with you all, but I hope that a quick video presentation will do, and I will be able to give you a little bit of food for thought in the context of youth values and what is valuable, what is worthy of protection. So I work at the University of Tartu Institute of Social Studies. I am an associate professor of media studies, which means that I am extremely interested in everything that has to do with media, but more specifically with social media. And today, for the next 15 minutes or so, I will be turning an eye to social media and ask what is the value of social media, and especially for young people. So you should always check your sources. I hope that you know that by now. So check your sources with me as well and ask about my expertise. How does Maria know about the things that she talks about? And it's a bit of an academic flex moment. I apologize. I cannot stay humble here. I have conducted several different studies and research and teaching opportunities and supervising opportunities that have to do with youth, digital media, social media, and the risks and opportunities that connect to social media practices. So here on the slide, you can see some of the screenshots from the stuff that I have published about this. Obviously, some of it is super dark and it doesn't really belong to this specific presentation, but here are a couple of things that I think will be helpful for me to talk to you about these things. Most recent and most important for this presentation is going to be that one here: social media micro interventions, testing information activism as a media and information literacy tool. This is something that we have been working on for the past couple of years, and we're getting an article out and we're testing out some of these strategies. But enough about that. So what do young people value? I'm sure that over the course of this conference, you get a chance to talk about this in depth. And there are many more smarter people than me who can talk about this specific topic. But what I know from their work and reading their work is that young generations of today value very strongly family, friends, free time, and work. Work comes in strong in the young adult group, but is increasingly important for younger age groups as well when they think about how and what should they do in the life that is, just rolling out before them. So compared to other generations, some things have been emphasized, that some things are a bit different than they were for previous generations. And for example, we have the high value of autonomy, of freedom of choice, and self-expression. So these things are extremely important for the young of today. Compared to other generations, as per self perception, younger generations value openness, tolerance, and happiness. As they say that they do this more than previous generations. But quite worryingly, for some scholars and some practitioners, it has been said that participation, the actual real participation in different processes of the world and society, could be higher, because only 1/4, and I don't know, is it only? Is 1/4 enough? This is another discussion that we could have. Are actively engaged in participative modes. And some people are a bit worried about young people being passive about political participation and just like asking for social change, willing to do stuff, volunteer, and so on. So I'm not sure about, like, do we actually need a 90% of people being active, very active? Or do we actually need like different modes of participation? And perhaps this passive existing is also a valid way of being and participating in society. This is something for you to discuss there. But also, value studies very often point out that the young people want to be heard and say that we are not a homogeneous mass. All young people are not the same. Young people can differ in very many ways, and if we are doing stuff with the young, we should, begin by asking, so what is important to you? How would you want to do this? So this is something that is just, to frame us and to go into this topic in more depth. But obviously, very many of these values are expressed via social media. So the world's most used social media platforms, they are a bit dynamic field, although the giants tend to stick around for years. So we see that Facebook, although nobody uses Facebook, right? Yeah. Facebook is still top in the global view. Obviously, in youth subcultures, other platforms are more important. So TikTok, the worry about TikTok and the love towards TikTok is something that has been the talk of the town for the past couple of years now already. So this is obviously quite big. And later on, this is perhaps something you can discuss as well. What platforms are important for young people? What platforms carry some of the things that we value? Like, why do we use some of these social media environments? It's because we find something of value from there. It might be the performed realness of people. It might be a sense of belonging to a gaming community. It might be looking for aesthetic things on Instagram. It might be putting together mood boards. It might be getting mental health advice from this specific sub forum or niche in the online sphere. So there is so much to do and so much to see and so much to value when it comes to social media. Because if we think about all of the reasons, all of the things that we do on social media, that is possible now, that wasn't before, but now is. It's amazing, isn't it? Social media has allowed us to get information really fast about stuff that we want to know how to, I don't know, build a table. There's a video for that. We want to know about the wonders of chemistry. There is content. There is like loads and loads of different modes of contact, different media text. You could get a video, you could get a long read, you could get audio, podcast, funny, serious, whatever you want, it's out there. So we have access to a lot of information and knowledge, and that makes us smart. Yeah, I know you're already like, no, 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 no. But that was the promise. That was the promise. If everybody would have access to information, we would all be able to make good decisions. You see, there's this risk lurking behind that. Yep, we are right now in the information disorder where there is information about everything. You want to believe that there's a giant lizard running this world? There is proof of that. And proof here means that there's a website that somebody put up and made it look semi-trustworthy. If you want to believe that some vaccines are harmful, there is proof of that. So you see, there is lots and lots of information about very different things. And it hasn't really made us smart as the promise and the hope was. But still, getting back to the positive side, there is emotional kind of needs and gratifications that we get from social media. So we get joy from using social media. There is entertainment, there is funny stuff, there is sad stuff, there's this cathartic sad stuff, but also like horror stuff that, we view because of other motivations. Think about, why would you watch a scary movie, or why would you play a scary game? It all serves some kind of function and need in us, even if it's not all joy and happiness. Also, we're belonging to groups, we're contributing, we're sharing, we are feeling like we're a part of something. We have access to different capitals. So think about how influencers work. That's a whole new economy. So when it comes to social media, we can prove our self-worth. We can get praise. We can get financial goods. We can get this kind of capital for being awesome. And we all are in our own little ways. And also there is escapist needs and escapistic kind of values that allow us to escape the normalcy, escape the horrible everyday life, because everyday life sometimes is horrible and very stressful. So media and social media can offer that escape from the gray or the black everyday life. So there is so much to love about social media, because if you think about, if you didn't have access to social media, somebody took it away, or it wasn't invented, what would you miss? And this is like an introspective moment. Think about, what would you miss most? Here is a word cloud that comes from 6 years of social media disconnection diaries that my students have done over the years. And you can see some of the prominent words here, that there is time. Time is doing weird things when you don't have social media. There is feeling, talking, thinking, seeing, starting, wishing, friend, phone, Facebook, call, read, usual. So you see that there's this kind of mumble of different words, but you can think about, what would you miss? Because then you will probably get the core value of social media for you. And your core values might not be, same as mine or the person who is sitting next to you now. Obviously, over the past years, over a longer period, most of us have experienced some form of psychological pressures and stress. I mean, if we have young people in the crowd there, then you are probably the ones who have gone through something that, well, previous generations didn't go through. You had 2 years chopped off of your youth in like this kind of like how we've always done things kind of youth. You had a very different upbringing in that sense. You had to do Zoom classes, you were cut off, you were, pushed towards separation, when all that young people, well, not all, but an important part of youth life is being together. So this is obviously something that is leaving a mark that we will all have to live with and overcome, because it is what it is. But it's not just COVID-19, obviously. There is so much going on that is horrible, awful. And when we think about information that revolves these kind of horrible things in life, we can see that we're living in a multi-crisis. So very many people have lost hope, that they have lost trust towards institutions, towards media, towards other people. They have begun avoiding media, just being really separate. Usually it's a lonely place to be, but also it's a very paranoid place to be when you can't trust anything. Think about how horrible that must feel. And also, we are all in fragmented audiences. My informational sphere is not like yours. It's not meant to be. It has always been like that. People's information spheres are different. But now we can live so separately that we don't even have like a common shared point. We don't even understand the world similarly sometimes. This was really evident, obviously, before as well, but with the emergence of the hot war, Russia's war against Ukraine. People were and still are living in very different informational spaces where their whole understanding of the world is very different. So, my first advice to you is to keep some anchors in your life. Whatever is happening, if you're feeling overwhelmed with media, keep something that anchors you to the rest of the society. Like for Estonians, it's very often the 9 o'clock news, Aktuaalne Kaamera. Find something that is trustworthy, follows journalistic standards, is not just taste media, because we are following so much taste media, stuff that we like, pages that tell us things that we want to hear because that matches our worldview. When in actuality, we should strive for a more multi-perspective look into things. So this is like my first suggestion as a media professional to you, because indeed we are living in this information disorder era, as it has been called. And just to be very clear, the distinction to three is really important, because not all misinformation, not all false information is disinformation, propaganda, mean people doing mean things, but rather we are seeing that there are different types of false information that makes this kind of disorder. So first we have misinformation, which is basically unintentional mistakes, stuff that we do because we make mistakes, we're human. Then there is disinformation. That's information that has been sent out to do harm, to advance someone's secret aims, to lie, deceive, kind of sow fear in people's minds. So this is disinformation, and that's the most harmful kind very often. But people in the academia who have tried to measure like what kind of content is the most prevalent, they have said that obviously the most prevalent is misinformation, because we are human beings, we make mistakes. We look at a video and we don't even consider that it might be a fake, because that's not how we operate. We want to believe in the world that we are living in. And there is a third kind of false information in that sense, but it's not false, it's malinformation, which means that the information, the piece of information is true, but it has been taken out of its original context, or it has been timed very perfectly to hit the news flows at a very specific time. So for example, I could have a really racist meme on my slides when I'm giving lectures. And you could take that screenshot or that short video and be like, Maria is a racist. Look at her slides. When in actuality, I might be talking about how memes keep up harmful stereotypes. So you see, the information is true. I did have that kind of meme on the slides, right? In this hypothetical situation. But the context has been removed. So in that sense, it would be easy to use this against me. Anyways, these are the three types. If you haven't read about it, then there's this really good source also on the slides. Unfortunately, when it comes to technology, we have a lot of techno panics. We have so much worry over technology and what it's doing to human beings. And, it's just like everything is going to sideways and nothing is working anymore because technology has broken us. These are referred to in the academic sphere as techno panics, which means that they stir up the fear in us. Unfortunately, techno solutionism is not the answer either. Techno solutionism is basically, there's an app for that. kind of approach. Let's gather a lot of data and then we can, make good decisions without thinking, is this ethical, how it's biased, and so on. So when we are in these stressful moments, when we are in these stressful longer periods, we very often go into these kinds of coping modes. Like, how do we behave? What do we do when there's a threat that we perceive as a threat to our well-being, our physical well-being, our mind, whatever? There are different typologies, but very often they are used in this kind of three, where there is fight, flight, and freeze responses. So freeze response means that you are in a paralysis, yes, paralysis, where you cannot do anything. You're like stuck in this moment. Flight is running away, pretending it doesn't exist, just like getting away from the stressor. So blocking, reporting, not using, shutting everything down, just like going away, la 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 la, it doesn't exist. Fight is confrontation. It's confronting the danger and trying to seek actively support, trying to do something about the problem. So this is obviously an oversimplification, but you can think about, like, how do you behave in certain situations? What worries us lately is the incivility contagion or incivility spiral, which means that when people are behaving in weird or bad ways, other people will do that as well. So it's a question of framing. If everybody is cussing each other out, is bullying each other, is being horrible towards each other, we start to mimic that. We start to behave like that as well. And with a growing worry, we're seeing this in online spaces. And this is not a youth problem. It's a very much like over different generations. Everybody is at fault here. So there is this kind of central troll ethos, which means that we have grown accustomed to everything being a joke. Just like, take a joke, dude. Or let's prank each other. Let's not take things too seriously. I'm too cool to take things seriously. I'm just joking. Like, everything is a joke. So we can see this in very many different ways. So trolling has become this really wide and rich practice, how we do things. And all trolling is not bad. Like, think about Nuffle, how that works, right, fellas? So trolling is a really like a cool phenomenon, but there is so much that can be harmful to democracy and to our general well-being. So here's my call. Step up and speak up. Even if we feel like we cannot, because the general tone of the conversation is harmful and aggressive and horrible. We have to reclaim our public spaces. We cannot let that kind of ignorant, mean tone of communication be the prevalent one, the thing that is happening, that we expect, that we go to the comment sections of news media and we're like, yeah, there's usually not much sense, just like really drunk or really horrible people just like spewing horrible things. So this is not normal. This is not how it was supposed to be. And I think that we could do something about this. So here we look to micro interventions, because this is a hard burden to carry. Fixing the digital communication sphere is a huge task, but it's not a task that a government can do, that the university can do, that some company can do. It's probably something that we all have to chip away at. So let me offer you 3 ways to challenge that general recreational nastiness that we see in so many social media environments. First, offer micro affirmations. Offer compliments, like things that make sense, like things that are civil. Just like put that kind of, pressing the buttons and really showing to the people who are trying to make a better change, or change to a better version of this sphere, support them. So don't just scroll by, but really take the time to give these tiny, tiny little affirmations for the people that are making the space better. Also, micro protections. So read up, be aware of things like, how do things work? How does my brain work? Why are people like that when they're in like huge crowds or something? Read up, be smart about it, because that will protect you. That will develop your literacy, media and information literacy, but also you will be smarter to teach others. And thirdly, if you're up to that, fight. So micro challenges means that when you're seeing meanness, horribleness, you will not stay silent. You will fight. This comes with a whole bag of risks. You could be the victim of a troll attack, of a coordinated wave of hate, and everything like that. So first, consider, is it worth it? Am I in danger? But if you can, please fight. We need an active form of resistance to be there as well, because otherwise we will lose our digital spheres to this general nastiness. And I'm not sure that we will win from that. So these are the three tiny things that, well, the last one is not tiny, but they can be tiny things that we all can do to protect what we value in social media. I hope that we share some values, obviously not all, but still. Here are a couple of examples from stuff that our students have done. So we were seeing that algorithm was a mystery to many, and people didn't really understand how algorithms work. So a group of our students did an actual TikTok house to the Tartu Christmas village, where they explained how algorithms work. Our student is going to kindergartens to talk about digital literacy stuff to very, very young people. There have been campaigns with mirrors on the streets and with digital hygiene in the toilets and so on. So I do support very fiercely that when you are feeling like you know something that your peers don't know, help them learn that. So these kinds of interventions, campaigns, these kind of creative approaches to digital problems, I think we can win. So we don't have to just like take it as, you know, like in a fatalist mode that, oh, that's how life is, that's how online life is. Call this idealistic, but I think that there is something there. So if you're interested, please do write to me, maria.muruma@ut.ee. And I hope that you will have an amazing conference. Thank you very much, and see you very soon.